I'd like to invite our next speaker, a friend and colleague and our Minister for Ethnic Communities, Honourable Jenny Salesa. Minister Salesa is New Zealand's first Tongan-born, Tongan-speaking Member of Parliament and the first Tongan-born Cabinet Minister of the Crown. She was elected as Member of Parliament for Manukau East in 2014 and 2017. Following her re-election in 2017, Minister Salesa was sworn into the Labour-led government as a Minister of the Crown with portfolio responsibilities for building and construction and ethnic communities, and with associate responsibilities for education, health, housing and urban development. Please welcome the Honourable Jenny Salesa.
Kia ora koutou katoa, namaste, namaskaram, sat sri akal, bulavinaka, malo elele. I'd like to acknowledge the Indian High Commissioner, His Excellency Mr. Sanjeev Kohli. Thank you so much for your words and your very warm welcome. I'd also like to acknowledge Barb Dillon, who is one of the powerhouses behind this summit. 5 years. Thank you so much for everything you do to assist our High Commissioner in ensuring that we have strong connections in business between Aotearoa, New Zealand and India. I have so many parliamentary colleagues who are here. Can I begin by acknowledging Kanwaljit Bakshi, our Deputy Leader of New Zealand First, Mr. Fletcher Tabuto, who is here to give a speech on behalf of the Honourable Shane Jones. I'd also like to say that two other Ministers of Government are going to be joining you this afternoon, Honourable Andrew Little as well as Honourable Penny Henare. I'd also like to acknowledge our MC, my friend Priyanka Radhakrishnan. It is really a pleasure to be with you all this morning. New Zealand's relationship with India began in the 1800s with the arrival of our first settlers from India. Since that time, we have continued to strengthen our long-standing and warm relationship. There is a large and very active Indian community in New Zealand. Between census 2006 and census 2013, we know that the fastest growing population in Aotearoa was Indian, 48% increase. And so in 2013, which is our last census figures, we're told that there are 155,000 Indians here in New Zealand, but we know the projection is that by 2025, that population will be anywhere between 280,000 to 350,000. Now, I know that our delegation, which I'd like to also acknowledge from India, you might think that this is not a very large number, but you have to remember Aotearoa New Zealand's only made up of over 4 million people, so that is actually a huge number of our total population. I'd also like to express my gratitude and acknowledge the particularly strong contribution that our Indian communities make here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, socially, culturally, as well as economically. You all play a very important part in fostering our very positive diplomatic and trading relations with India. Our two-way tourism between New Zealand and India is growing, and we will continue to support this growth. I too am looking forward to this possibility of a direct flight to India. India's expanding economy and growing global influence makes it an increasing and important partner for New Zealand. Two-way trade with India was valued at $2.7 billion for the year ending June 2018, but there is considerable unfulfilled potential in our economic relationship. We would like to be able to do more. Finalising either a bilateral or regional free trade agreement is important to help New Zealand businesses engage more successfully with India. The efforts of the India-New Zealand Business Council in promoting opportunities for business linkages and trade between our two countries are extremely important, and we appreciate the hard work that has been done in organising today's summit. I'd also like to acknowledge the work of our Indian High Commission, both here in Auckland, as well as I know that Consul here in Auckland, as well as other parts, are in assistance of ensuring ensuring that our bilateral ties are indeed strong. I'd like now to turn to another of my ministerial portfolio responsibilities, which is as Minister for Ethnic Communities. One of my priorities is to ensure that we support the delivery of safer community initiatives. Safety is key for our communities and our businesses to succeed and to thrive. It is also a key to social inclusion. Earlier on this year in May, we actually convened a Safer Ethnic Communities Ministerial Forum where there were 4 of us ministers and our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Jacinda Ardern, came to open this summit. We are, of course, as a government, focused on ensuring safety of our communities and in particular safety of our business communities. This is one of the strongest messages that's come through, especially from our Indian communities here in Aotearoa, and we as a government are committed to addressing this issue to ensure safer communities for all of our people, including our businesses. I'd like to turn now to being Associate Minister of Education. One of the things that I'm doing now is I'm convening kōrero mā tauranga, education conversations with our ethnic communities. And you might wonder why this is. Well, earlier on in May, the Minister of Education, the Honourable Chris Hipkins, had 2 summits. One was held in Christchurch, one was held here in Auckland. The Ministry of Education also opened up an online survey where they invited everyone from Aotearoa, New Zealand, to let us know what is most important to you, what do you value in education, whether you're a parent, a student, a community leader, because we are looking at ensuring that our education system is fit for purpose moving forward. But unfortunately, we did not hear that much from our ethnic communities. Only a few hundred attended our summits or filled out our education conversation survey, which is conversation.education.govt.nz. I am now going around the country. I've held 3 conversations here in Auckland, and I'll be holding 2 more, one in Wellington and one in Christchurch. I would encourage you to please be involved. Themes that have come through that we need to address in education are diversity, equity, inclusiveness, ensuring that schools are better connected with families. Culture, language and identity was also a really strong theme that's come across, including a lot of advocacy for Hindi language. Now, many of you who've travelled here from India may not know, but Hindi is the 3rd most spoken language here in Tāmaki Makaurau, Auckland. It is the 4th spoken language for all of New Zealand. And so I've already asked my Ministry of Education to give me some advice on how we could go ahead with ensuring Hindi as well as Mandarin, actually, because that is also a larger population here in Aotearoa, and I'd like to acknowledge the presence of His Worship Meng Foon, who's here with us this morning. In terms of state sector boards, one of the things that we as Cabinet have just approved about 2.5 weeks ago is that we should look at how many of our state sector boards are of ethnic community folks. We know we nominate and we appoint to 429 state sector board members as well as committees, but just looking at some of the boards that I have something to do with, I can tell you that there are not that many who are from ethnic communities. And when we look at the projection overall, and we know that by 2038, 25% of New Zealand's total population is going to be made up of ethnic communities, we know that this is definitely an issue that we must confront and address. However, what we're doing first is we're going to collect the baseline information, because before we can address how it is that we need to move forward with ethnic representation on boards, we need to know the exact numbers. In conclusion though, can I finish off with this message for those of you who have anything to do with building and construction. As your Minister of Building and Construction, we are looking for partners. We know that as a government, we cannot build the houses that we need by ourselves. We are looking for partners, and if there are any of you who are here, please contact the Ministry of Building, Business, Innovation and Employment, MB, the Kiwi Build unit in MB, they're always looking for partners. In conclusion, I'd like to wish you all a very good summit for the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.